Hello YouTube. I'm continuing to work on my Colt 1917 double action revolver, and if you've seen my other videos, I've already explained that I had a problem with an excessive cylinder gap, and also a problem with the barrel face. There was a gap or damage on one side of the barrel face. So in order for me to fix this, I had to take in the shoulder, barrel shoulder right here. So I had to take it in so that the barrel can screw in one more turn into the frame, which will extend the barrel face back and allow me to fix my cylinder gap. I'm still waiting for the tools for the barrel facing and forcing cone chamfering and stuff like that, but for now I've decided to go ahead and proceed with shoulder taken or barrel set back. So let me show you the tool that I got from Brownells. The tool is called Brownells Barrel Set Back Fixture, and I got the master set. Okay. And the only difference between the one shown here, 38 357 caliber, and the master set is that you get other pilots for other caliber sizes. So the tool I got was that same fixture. Let me show you the tool a little bit, and I'll zoom out just so I can show you what you get. So you get this little baggie of Allen wrenches, you get the fixture itself, and then you get the pilots. Alright, oh, sorry about bumping the camera. So let me reposition here so it's better for you to see. I think you should be okay like this. Alright. So here's that fixture. As you can see, it comes with one cutter. The cutter is sitting right here inside. Let me get the pilots out. Here are the pilots. And here are the Allen wrenches. So right away I have to tell you that I realized that this tool is not, well, it's kind of, I don't want to say poorly made, but unfinished. Let's just call it that. And I'll show you why I'm saying this. But for my purposes, here's what you would need to do. First and foremost, realize that if your cutter is positioned the same way that mine is right now, so the cutting surface is actually facing out this way, it's incorrect. So what I had to do was, using one of the Allen wrenches, I hope you can see all this, I had to take it out by unscrewing this large main screw, removing the cutter, taking that screw out completely, turn the viewfinder my way so I can see what I'm doing, or what it looks like for you. Then I had to remove these little adjustment screws, just like that, and reposition them to the proper side. Now of course I'm missing the thread. Okay, just so that they are sitting flush. You can tell that this is the working area. See this cutout? This allows the tool to go lower. And also, when repositioned, the cutter will be facing correctly towards the center of the fixture, and obviously the center of your barrel. So then we reposition this bolt. Okay. And oh, lost it. Sorry about that. That's what I get for checking the camera instead of looking at what I'm doing. So for now I'm just going to secure it as is. Alright, so now you can see that the cutter is facing dead center, basically, of the fixture. I hope you can tell that. And that's the proper positioning. So you're going to have to do that. The other thing I noticed right away, you have this little pilot holder, and you would select your pilot based on the numbers you can see on its leg. So this one says 45, and my revolver is 45, so I'm going to choose that. I'm going to screw it in, or tighten it inside this pilot holder, or whatever it is, whatever it's called. And what I realized right away is that when I tried to put this main pilot holder into the fixture, it didn't want to go very far. And actually I'm doing this wrong. At this point you shouldn't have the cutter on your tool at all. So let's remove that. So there's the cutter. And the pilot, I hope you can tell, you can see this. Can you see that little screw that I used to secure my pilot inside that main pilot thing, sleeve? This screw was protruding, so I had to file it down. And when I did that, I realized that not only was this an issue, but even when you take the depth adjustment screw out, basically all the way, alright, my sleeve didn't go in far enough. So what I had to do was, there is basically a burr on the inside of the fixture, so I had to thin this out a little bit just on the back side and put it back in, and it basically slid forward a little bit more. But then I realized that it doesn't want to go in all the way anyway. As you can see, hopefully, let me zoom you in a little. Alright, hopefully you can see, you still see the shoulder of that main sleeve. Before, it was sitting like this. The reason why is because the main sleeve seems to be essentially too long, so I had to file it down on the back side again to make it go all the way in. And this depth screw obviously is, well, here I can show you. I'll take it out completely. That's it, no more depth screw, and my sleeve is still not touching the end, or is not going in flush with the end. The reason why this is important is because your barrel sits against that sleeve on the pilot, okay? And if you want, your cutter is not adjustable, so you can't move it back and forth. So you actually want to get as much range as possible to take in your shoulder as deep as possible, as deep as you will need to. And in order for that to happen, you would want that sleeve to be sitting at least flush with this large opening. See that? That's what you would want it to be flush with. this surface, because then the barrel also hits that and stops. So that's kind of a little flaw, I thought, but it's easily fixable. I could file it down even more to make sure that this the sleeve is sitting flush with that ledge. Okay, that's another issue I've discovered with the tool. So now I'll show you. I've already done my my barrel setback. You can kind of tell probably by this ledge now that exists right here. That little step. So I did my shoulder setback. It worked pretty well, but there are a couple of important things you need to know about this tool. I'll show you how to set it up first. Let's move you over to my vise. Yeah, my little tiny vise. And I have padded just pieces of leather. Instructions say to make one side of the tool be basically flush with the vise, whatever you call them, grips. And we'll replace this this little depth screw. Instructions basically say just loosen this bolt or this nut, and then don't even move it back yet, but see, it's gonna start pushing the pilot out, and that's why it's a depth screw. See that? That's how that works. So now we're gonna put our barrel over the pilot, like so. Can you see okay? Let's see if I can adjust it for a better angle. Okay. And now I'm going to replace the cutter. And I'm just going to drive this main locking screw in one turn or so. At this point, actually, well, yeah. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push on the forward of the cutter, of the actual cutter surface, and make sure that it rests right against my threads. Okay, and that it's level with the threads. At this point, I'm going to take my little adjustment screws. Let's see if I can give you a better view of that. I'm so sorry for adjusting right as I'm doing this. Let's see. You're going to be able to see it this way. Yeah. So now I'm going to take my little adjustment screws, make sure that this thing is level, and I'm going to screw them in just until I feel them touch the base. So very gently, very lightly. Okay, that one touched. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Just very gently. And meanwhile, I'm holding the tool basically to the threads right here. Okay. Let's see. Let's adjust you again. All right. So now I'm going to tighten the main locking screw. there. Just kind of enough to be hand tight. And now I'm gonna make sure. Well, I actually lifted the tool a little bit, but what I can do is turn these little adjustment screws slightly, and then the tool will be rubbing up against my threads, and we don't want that. Let's see. I want to show you that it makes solid contact. Right now it doesn't. Well, anyway, what you want to do is play with these adjustment screws until you have it basically be parallel to the threads but not touching them. Let's see if I am touching the threads right now. Yes, I am. So right now my threads are rubbing on the tool. So what you want to do at this point is take your adjustment screws and just turn them in about 1/16 of a turn, 1/8 of a turn, and then your threads will be safe. See that? At this point, now you're going to, let me see so I can see what I'm doing. Now you're going to unscrew your depth screw just until the barrel touches the face of the tool, the cutting face. And you're going to tighten the bolt in the back. I'll show you that in a second. So you're going to want to tighten that nut right here. You're going to tighten that and just simply start turning the barrel gently. Right now I'm not actually cutting anything because mine is already cut to spec, but you can use a little cutting oil and then gently cut the barrel against the or turn the barrel against the cutter, and we'll start cutting your shoulder and setting it back. Each turn of this depth adjustment screw by the instructions is 36 thousandths of an inch. So if you know your thread step on the barrel, and you want to produce one more turn, basically you're going to know how many of these depth screw turns you need to do to produce basically about the same essentially dimension of material you're removing. So that's how this tool works. And then every so often you're going to want to take this out. It just slides out. Clean up your cut. So use a brush or something, clean up this cut, and then test fit your barrel into the frame. And by the way, what I've done here was I used layout die, and when I screwed the barrel in and it made contact, I needed to see if it makes even contact with all surfaces, or the surface of the frame, the face of the frame evenly. So that's what I used that for. And then well, you can see right now it's upside down because I don't want to tighten it anymore, but you can also tell that there's a gap right now. So basically when I tighten this, it's already fit to be proper adjustment for the front sight, so I don't want to do anything to it. I just wanted to show you in this video how to use this tool and how to set back your barrel shoulder if you need to do this. If you're not confident in your skills, I probably wouldn't recommend using this tool, because if you start cutting down your threads, you're done. You know, if you improperly remove the barrel, you're done. If you improperly finish the face of the frame, you're done. Right? I mean, it's really easy to mess up when you're not a professional metal worker, basically machinist or whatever. I mean, you can't call it machining because it's all hand tooling. But anyway, I thought it was important to show you how this tool works, and you know, if you're thinking of doing this yourself, at least you'll know how to use the tool, because the instructions don't actually do a good enough job, I think, of explaining everything. But once you play around with it, you'll understand it. You'll figure it out. All right. Thank you very much for watching my video again.